Good Wednesday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. Taking a look at our impact maps for the next couple of days. In the orange, across western Nevada, we've had near record heat, low humidity, high Haines indices. This will continue today. Some isolated thunderstorms, high-based, very widely isolated, could occur across north central Nevada later today towards the Utah border. I'll have to keep an eye on that. There'll be a bit more widespread thunderstorm activity across our southern areas, but that'll be primarily wet or falling on fairly moist fuels. Similar story for Thursday. On Friday, following several days of record heat, we do see a northward surge of thunderstorms, higher based, a mix of wet and dry. This is a major concern for us as we go into Friday and into the weekend, those areas in the red. Over the past 24 hours, lightning activity pretty sparse, confined to our southern areas. A handful of strikes up here in Idaho. I'll have to watch some of these as we stay hot and dry today. Precipitation here on the left-hand side, fairly light in all areas. Current fire activity, new fires in the red, current or existing fires in the yellow. We have had a little bit of an uptick in initial fire activity, some larger fire activity up here in far northeastern Nevada that developed in the last 24 hours. Observed precipitation over the past 7 days, quite dry, all areas. Even down here in our monsoon territory, this is still quite a bit below normal. And looking at the past 30 days, you can see how much we've dried out across Idaho, across parts of northern Utah and much of Nevada, moist to the south. But again, this is not unusual for this time of year. Our ERCs are responding very quickly to that hot, dry weather, especially up in parts of Idaho where they're approaching the 90th to 96th percentile in a lot of areas. And these ERCs, which were in yellow and green, northern Nevada just a few days ago, also responding, as are ERCs across northern Utah as well, and even up here in Wyoming, starting to take a turn towards the drier. Looking at our 100-hour fuel moistures, they kind of tell us where we're really susceptible to maybe new starts in the lighter fuels and brush. And you can see here across northern Nevada, southwest Utah, and a few spokes up here in southwest Idaho, but a few spokes up here in northwest Utah will also have to be watched. Here's our satellite imagery showing that high-pressure system growing and expanding across our area, steering monsoonal moisture to our south through Arizona and up into California. We do have some trapped moisture underneath the high, and that could result in some very isolated but high-based thunderstorm activity for later this afternoon. So for today, on the upper level map, weather continues to be dominated by this ridge of high pressure, steering monsoonal moisture to our south, but a few blips popping up over here across parts of Nevada. We'll have to watch for some isolated lightning activity. We do have high risk for hot, dry conditions, also with unstable Haines indices in these areas here in the orange. And we get a better look through here. You can see these low humidities in the single digits across a good portion of Nevada, low teens into Idaho, single digits here in Utah as well. And then on the right-hand side, the Haines index, these reddish colors you see here are Haines indices of a 6. The orange is a 5. So across a good portion of Idaho, northern Nevada, parts of Utah, Haines indices will be extreme for any fires that do develop. And then for tomorrow, Thursday, that moisture starts to creep into California. We're still under this high pressure, so still very hot, very dry as we have the high risk here in the orange. You can see how our fuels are drying out in all of our areas. And again, very critically dry humidity levels across much of our region. And there's the Haines indices, still a spattering of 6s across Nevada, parts of Utah and Idaho. 5s on the Haines indices where you see the orange, so again, still a concern. Now on Friday, that moisture starts to shift a bit further to the north. You can see we have now high risk for lightning across parts of our western or northwestern areas, and we can see that through here on our precipitation map. The thunderstorm activity with the precipitation started to skirt along the Nevada-California border and starting to spill over a little bit. So this is going to be following a week of very hot, dry weather. Even on Friday, humidity levels just a tad higher, but still down around 10%. Looking at our precipitation over the next 3 days on the larger scale, confined mainly to the south, the stuff that we're seeing up north not even being picked up by the larger scale models. So any lightning should be fairly dry initially. Saturday is our big concern for high risk across a good portion of our area, as well as northern California, parts of the Pacific Northwest. That is because this little trough of low pressure is now forming off the California coast and enhancing the moisture, which you see here in the green, spilling over more into parts of western and northern Nevada. And then looking down the road for Sunday, that moisture grows ahead of that trough, so you can see we expect a widespread development of our lightning across Nevada into northwestern Utah. We'll watch Idaho for now. Looks like things will be a little bit delayed there, but it'll probably be Monday. See that moisture in the green sliding northwards, and even this grayish area into Idaho where we have very critically dry ERCs. That's where we see high risk for lightning. And then on Tuesday, still thunderstorms through here. These could get wetter in the deeper green, so we have not high risked those areas by Tuesday. Precipitation over the next 7 days. And our 8 to 14 day outlook shows a bit of a cold signal pushing into Colorado and maybe into the eastern part of the Great Basin. Also possible shut off of the monsoon down here in the south, staying a little bit more moist further north. This is a pattern change and something I'll have to keep an eye on as we go into week 2. Otherwise, this concludes our briefing. Have a great day.